Hello,
Hello.
people of the internet, as in our friends. Welcome to Two Up Front.
Yes.
Yes, we are. Well, I'm Harry,
And I'm Max.
and this is the first time we've ever worked on a project like this together. So that's exciting.
It's very exciting.
Very exciting. And we thought, what does the internet need and not have enough of? And we thought, football podcast.
Look. there might be some like imitations of what a real football podcast is out there, but it'd be nothing like this.
This is the real deal. We're about as good as it comes.
No one knows ball better than us.
Exactly. So everyone, shut the fuck up.
start.
We're gonna get rolling. So our first topic of discussion today is we all see these combined 11s. They're very who's the best in this era? Who's the best in this era? We decided to jump off with the negative
We're a bit too nasty for
from day dot.
for those niceties.
Yeah. So we've gone with, I'm a Man United fan. Max is an Arsenal fan. So I have put together a list of my worst ever United 11 in my lifetime. And Max has got his worst 11 for Arsenal in his lifetime. And by the end of it, we're going to combine them and come up with a team and a manager as well. Now, it should be noted, we are slightly younger than a lot of football podcasters. So we kind of grew up watching 2010s football, probably have a little bit of memory of maybe just before, but we grew up in what was a pretty shitty time for both our clubs. I vaguely remember United winning the 2013 title and then Ferguson retiring, and that was about it.
Yeah, it's not been too good for us. It's
No.
getting better. It's
getting
not
better
been
for
too
you.
good since I've started as
Seems to be getting worse for me.
So we have set a few rules
Yes.
for this combined 11.
We have indeed.
It was, they must have played for our respective club from 2010 onwards.
Mm-hmm.
They must have at least 15 or more appearances.
Yeah, not some random
Yeah.
youth team prospect who played 2 times and then went off to Port Vale.
Exactly. And, well, we thought we'd set a thing for the worst player, but we've slightly gone different on
Yeah,
our
I think
approach
this
on
is
it.
up. This is up to debate here. So I think Max has gone for more technically the worst players.
Yeah.
Whereas I've gone for more people who I expected more of, and have maybe come in and not lived up to that hype. So there are some names that I'm going to say which might be a bit harsh, but we'll justify.
Yeah,
won't we?
yeah.
Yeah.
They all generated negative emotions while I was watching them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's
Yeah.
key.
So we've gone with 4-3-3, haven't we?
Yes,
Yes.
4-3-3.
We'll start in goal. Do you want to reveal yours first for Arsenal?
So
I'm very curious.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
not
we don't
shared
know.
our list.
We don't know who's who. So going through the keepers, I was surprised because I feel like I've hated on keepers. I was quite surprised that there wasn't as many stinkers, and so I went back to the first, Almunia,
Ooh, okay.
because
I thought it might have been Almunia
it was either him or I was going to be really harsh and go with Petr Cech.
because he wasn't there very long.
It
I
was his
suppose.
first season. He won the Golden Glove for us,
Yeah.
and then the second season, he was terrible. But I
Yeah.
didn't. I went with Almunia. 175 appearances for Arsenal, 70 clean sheets.
175.
Yeah.
God, he was around a while, wasn't he? Jesus.
Yeah.
When did he leave Arsenal?
Around 2012,
Yeah,
I want to say, because
yeah.
then Szczesny and
Szczesny
Fabianski
came
came
in,
to replace
yeah.
him. Ospina was a consideration as well, but he did win us the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So
if you've won something major, well,
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
fair, there are a few on here who've won some stuff, but that's not really the point.
But yeah, I went with Almunia. It was weak hands. That's the
Yeah.
things I
You
remember.
never
of
felt
him.
stable
No,
with
exactly.
Almunia in goal.
Balls would come in.
Yeah.
You weren't catching them.
Now, for United, this one was an interesting one because in my time we've had fairly long-term goalkeepers. I grew up on Van der Sar. I loved Van der Sar. Obviously, I didn't really see the Schmeichel stuff. There was then De Gea, and it was never going to be Van der Sar or De Gea.
It's surely only one.
It
man,
had to be Andre Onana.
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause-
Now, I feel a
yeah.
bit harsh because every time he pulls in a wonder performance, I'm like, oh my God, he's great. And then he will throw the ball in his own net the next game.
See, that's it. Every time I watch Onana, there's what I recommend players to do against him is just hit it at him.
And he will dive out the way. Yeah.
Because he won't catch it. He'll either parry it into the net or into
Onto
the
the
opposing
danger zone.
attacker.
Yeah. I never feel like, oh, we've got a really good shot stopper here. The point of bringing Onana in was that he was better on the ball than De Gea. Now, here's the thing. He's not. He's just as bad on the ball as De Gea, and De Gea was a better shot stopper. And this is probably the prime example of someone who I was really excited when they signed, because this was the progression. This was
Yeah,
Ten Hag coming in
that
with
makes
his
sense.
on-the-ball tactics. He's getting his goalkeeper.
Getting his
De Gea
Ajax boy.
leaving, De Gea leaving felt like the right move. And then suddenly, we've just gone downhill.
Yeah, yeah.
So Almunia or Andre Onana. This is a tough one because it's very different kinds of keepers.
I would lean towards Onana just because I can I remember them better. Like Almunia, it's more of a feeling.
And we were very young at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it was a
The
bit
one thing I
younger,
will say is
but-
Onana did get to a Champions League final.
Yeah, but not for
with
Man
Inter.
United.
Not for Man United.
I'm assuming this is for the club.
This is for the club,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah,
I think we need to give
exactly,
Onana his props in that at that time he was in the Inter team that got to a Champions League final. I would argue Inter played really quite well in that game.
Yeah, Onana looked good.
Onana looked very good.
It really was a drop off. It
was a
But then
massive
is
drop-off.
that then
That's the
because of the Inter defence versus the United defence?
Probably.
It's probably just a big
Very,
mix,
it's
isn't it?
probably
Yeah.
a bit of both. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll go with Onana. We're now moving to left back.
Okay, you can go.
I'll go first on this one. And this one, every time I think this guy's going to do something for United, he drops off the face of the planet for about 16 months.
Oh, I know who you're going for then.
And there are worse players than him. But I had to go with Luke Shaw.
Yeah, okay.
He's been at the club for nearly 10 years,
Yeah, he
which is
must be.
insane.
Do
Because
you know what manager signed him?
it was it Van Gaal?
Sounds about right.
Sounds about, yeah. I think it was
Yeah.
Van Gaal.
He was the most expensive teenager, wasn't
He
he?
was at the
Yeah.
time, yeah. And I don't know, this guy, when he plays, sometimes I think he's the best left back in the league. But then you don't see him for 18 months.
Yeah.
He will score a goal in a in a final for England. Again, we're only talking about club here. He will go and score a goal in the first 3 minutes against Italy, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's the best left back England's ever produced," and then he disappears.
Well, no one said that.
Well, no one's ever said that. Ashley Cole, but like, you cannot not play and be considered. Like, you've been at the club 10 years, and I think he's missed more games than he's played,
Yeah.
and that's the sign of a bad player. I'm sorry, reliable. You need to be reliable to be on these.
Yeah,
good
he's been
lists.
around for a while. I'm trying to think about the other United defenders.
Who did he replace Evra?
He must
He
have.
must have replaced Evra.
Yeah, I can't think of who would be unless they had a stopgap. They just like thrown someone there.
Yeah.
But I can't think of who it would be.
Did Valencia ever play out left back, or was he more right back?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
He was a right back, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I know he started on the wing though, didn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, I've gone Luke Shaw just for availability's sake and his attitude as well. You know when something is leaked from the club, it's come from a select few, and he's probably one of them.
Oh, well, that's pure speculation.
Pure speculation, of
against
course,
Luke.
but I don't love his attitude as a player
That's
either.
fair enough. I've got a few speculations in mind.
Yeah.
I'm glad we've got on the same page on that. My left back, I think what goes against this person is that he's replaced. He ended up replacing what was a long-term, one of probably the better at least left backs in the Emirates era for Arsenal, in Nacho Monreal.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was replaced by Siad Kolasinac, whose highlight for Arsenal Football Club was probably fighting those muggers who went from Mesut Ozil. He came in, and we got him on a free. And because we got him on a free, he was on around 180k a week.
Christ.
He was not very old. He was like 24 from Schalke. In Wenger's last season, I believe, he brought him in. Scored in his debut in the Community Shield. So...
It's a good start.
Yeah, good start.
Good start. I
I'm
remember
thinking this is the guy. It didn't kick on from there.
No.
My low light would be when we had to play him at centre back. This was Arteta era, I think, and it was against Tottenham. Lacazette had just scored a screamer, and then must have been like 5 minutes later. We just passed the ball to Kolasinac, and he just gets tackled by Heung-min Son, and they score. Absolute nonsense. Cedric was a consideration for left back.
Yeah.
When we played him there. But
Just so you know at home, when we
Kolasinac
did
left back.
this, there was a disagreement on whether we should do just United and just Arsenal and then combine them. Because I first did both and then did just United. And when I did both, Cedric was in mine.
No, he hasn't made mine. But that's because you've forgotten the worst right back in the Emirates era. And we'll get to him later.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We will get to that. So, Luke Shaw or Kolasinac? I think Luke Shaw is a better player.
Yeah, I absolutely. Yeah. But saying that, Kolasinac has since... he's now plays for Atalanta, and they love him.
Yeah.
But in between
It's a
that,
slower league,
he did
isn't
get
it?
Schalke relegated.
He got Schalke relegated.
So-
Shit for Arsenal, which is what we're mainly focusing on here.
I
think it has to be
absolutely.
Kolasinac at left back.
It has to be Kolasinac.
Cool. Right. Centre backs, do we want to do them as a pairing or just one at a time?
We can do them as a pairing. We'll try and
Yeah.
maybe speed up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll go with my pairing 1st then. I think firstly, and probably maybe the easiest player on this list.
I think I know exactly where this is going.
It's Scotchman
It's-
Mustafi.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. There's another player who I'm.
Well, he might be my other
He
one.
probably is your other one.
Sebastian Scolacci.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
In
I'm
doing
glad
my
you
research,
remembered
I
him.
watched his worst moments.
That's the only thing I remember of him.
My favourite thing is when he takes out
He
Koscielny.
takes out
He
Koscielny.
takes
That's
out
my
Koscielny.
only remember of Scolacci. My only memory of Scolacci, and he takes out Koscielny.
I watched. I was like, oh, this guy's terrible.
Scolacci, 39 appearances for Arsenal, 5 clean sheets, a tackle success rate of 59%. So that's a 50-50 if you run
you're
at him.
literally you play him and it could
It's-
go either
it's
way.
For comparison, Kolasinac, who I don't remember putting in a tackle, that didn't put the opponent in the A&E,
Yeah.
had a 66%. Like,
Fucking
that's
hell.
a chunk difference.
Max, the stats man here. Jeez.
Scolacci, it might be
I think
the
he's.
worst.
I think. I've not even said mine yet. He is ending up in this 11. He is easily the worst of the
but
four centre backs. we're gonna discuss.
Mustafi, just because
I forgot about Mustafi. I'll be completely
was
honest.
he started off well, and it was like, oh, hang on. I think it's because he replaced Mertesacker, and Mustafi was quick. He wasn't slow.
And Mustafi was very slow.
Yeah,
so it
very
was
slow.
big. Like,
and so it was
pace
this
upgrade.
Mustafi Koscielny partnership. It's like, oh, we've got this athletic build. He's okay on the ball. Something he got injured when he came. It was a different man. His twin replaced him.
yeah.
Yeah, my God, 151 appearances, 26 clean sheets. And just for
played that many
comparison,
games.
Saliba already has double their clean sheets of like the
That's
Kolasinacs
fucked.
and the
Oh my
Mustafis.
God.
He's played roughly the same appearances. Obviously, it's a different team, better defence, but
Obviously.
still,
Yeah, but that was. Yeah, that's
shocking.
two poor ones. Isn't it?
Shocking. What have you got for
Now,
me? I can
mind
guess
you-
one of them, surely.
Go on. Who do you think it is?
Harry Maguire.
No, has
Really?
not made this list. Now, one of them is on here for very similar reasons as Luke Sharon. One of them's on here simply because I forgot they ever played for the club.
I've got a few stinkers for the Man United defenders.
By the way,
yeah.
this was tough. There
Yeah,
were a
yeah.
few. I've gone with Phil Jones and
Okay.
Eric Bailly.
I thought Eric Bailly was the other one. I went with Maguire. Bailly.
Phil Jones, again,
was
similar
Man
to Luke
United.
Shaw, I think Phil Jones genuinely went about 2 seasons not playing for Manchester United.
But he's a bit of an icon
He is an icon. That clip of him head-butting the ball on the floor is
against Giroud.
immaculate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's against Arsenal. Yeah,
absolutely immaculate, and we love him for it. But it's again, he signed from Blackburn, and the hype. Sir Alex Ferguson said
Yeah.
this will be the best player to ever play for Manchester United.
Yeah. And he had some,
And
big
he-
competition.
Yeah, and he was there for what 15 years.
He must have outlasted them all.
Well, when did he leave? Because he played under Ten Hag.
No, but that's what I mean. He must have
Yeah,
he
he
must have been at the
yeah.
club longer than Ferdinand and Vidic.
Must have
and
done,
what-
yeah.
Who else? Bruce.
Yeah,
Hughes.
he was there for a lot longer than them. But in that time, for about 2 years, he just did not play. He was so injured all the time. And sometimes he did just have some howlers. Phil Jones, it was the hype, I think. I think when Sir Alex Ferguson says you're going to be the best player for Manchester United, you expect quite a lot. And then you get
Yeah.
Someone
That makes
pulling
sense. And he was
faces.
just always there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Always there.
occupying that number 4 shirt for years.
And yeah, then to go on to Eric Bailly, I remember him being, in the nicest way possible,
Useless.
calamitous.
Yes, yeah.
But so was Marcus Rojo.
Yeah. Marcus Rojo was on this list before I remembered Eric Bailly.
Yeah.
Because Eric Bailly, for me, I forgot he ever played for the club. When he did play, he was terrible, and I think I blocked it out of my memory. But then he didn't play very much.
I'm happy to put Bailly in instead of
Yeah.
Mustafi.
I think it's probably Bailly and Scolacci, isn't it?
Yeah, Scolacci has to be. He was.
He is the worst on this list.
That's the only memory I had of him. I was like, who's the worst defenders? And I'm going
And it's
through
the guy who
there's
took out
Socrates, David
Koscielny.
Luiz, and I was like, I remember Scolacci, but I only remember him attacking Koscielny.
Yeah, I think for that alone. So we're going with Scolacci and Eric Bailly,
Yeah.
which I think's fair. Do you want to read your right back out?
Yeah, okay. 23 appearances for Arsenal, 1 goal, 1 assist. He was brought in to be 0 clean sheets, by the way, in the Premier League.
Oh,
He was brought in because Hector Bellerin was such an injury nightmare, and so this is still when everyone had faith in Bellerin that he was going to come back from this injury and go on to be an incredible right back. Debuchy had just left, and so Unai Emery goes, "We'll get him in on a free." It's Lichtsteiner.
oh my
If you
God. That's a name that's coming deep from the back of
Obviously, an elite player
Jesus.
for Juventus. He was brought in, and it was meant to be he's going to be like defensively sound, but still good on the attack. He's a bit older. He'll bring experience, the likes of Chambers and Holding. He'll be amazing.
Of course.
But and
And there just
like
was not.
people understood his limitations, but I think the limitations of playing in the Serie A, coming in, I think he was 35. He just,
Yeah, it's a
I
much
remember,
slower league,
all I
isn't it?
remember is he started against Liverpool, and I think Sadio Mane. I don't think he needed to sprint. It
No,
was
he
just
probably
jogging
just
past
jogged.
him. Yeah. Ended 5-1.
It's one of those players that when you sign them, you think, is this the right move?
Yeah,
He's already quite old. He's coming from the Serie A, which is a slower league anyway. How is someone that age ever going to compete with the pace of the Premier League?
Yeah, it just was. It was
made no
silly.
sense from the beginning, really.
It was a silly signing.
I'll be honest, mine is harsh. I struggled a bit with right back. I think you're probably going to take yours on this one. I've had to go with Wan-Bissaka.
I thought you'd go with Wan-Bissaka as well.
Yeah,
I
the
went for
reason I've got
United
like
right
look,
backs.
Wan-Bissaka was an incredible tackler of the ball.
Yeah.
Absolutely, like incredible. One of,
I don't think he was a good defender though.
but no, that's all he could do.
Yeah, I think he was great at 1v1 defending.
Exactly,
But
and
so many goals
nothing
would
else.
get crossed to his back post, and he was just not tracking
He
his
would
man.
beat you for pace if he was coming at you, and he would hit you with that sort of scoop slide tackle he would do, and it was
Yeah.
impenetrable, but nothing else.
He's got that highlights against Mbappe and Neymar, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then...
And then literally nothing else. If you cross it in, he's not heading it out.
His positioning at the back post was shocking.
Terrible.
And what I think is incredible is his attacking. I remember he was so quick and strong, but he just was rubbish at attacking.
Yeah, no, he would not go
But
forward.
he looks quite good for West Ham now.
He does. He does look. But I think that suits him. Being, West Ham are one position away from relegation
Yeah,
at the time of speaking.
Well,
So
and what are you?
about 3 from relegation at the time of speaking. We could really use with an Aaron Wan-Bissaka right about now.
Yeah.
But no, well, we couldn't actually because now we're playing with wing backs. Going forward, he'd be terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really a place for him now at Man
Yeah,
United.
positionally, he wouldn't play centre back, would he?
So
I think it's Lichtsteiner.
I
though.
think it's Lichtsteiner. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka at least had the 1v1 defending.
Yeah, well, Lichtsteiner was obviously a veteran of the game.
Yeah, he was a
but
veteran of the game, and we can appreciate
Why
what he
Arsenal
was.
signed
But
him,
why?
I do
Yeah.
not know.
So we're going on to centre mid. We'll do our
So, shall we
pairing for the
just-
middle two.
Just to recap the defence,
Yep.
we've got Onana, Kolasinac, Squillaci, Mbaye, Lichtsteiner.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jesus.
quite even with the numbers.
Yeah, fairly even at the moment. Now we'll now go into our centre mid pairing. Do you want to go for-
Pairing. Oh, I just went the 4-3-3.
Oh, as in you've gone with the full three.
Just the three,
I've gone with
yeah.
2 centre mids and a more specific cam. But to be fair, this can kind of interchange.
Mine can be that as well.
Yeah.
One of them's more attacking.
Okay, we'll say our 3 then. We'll do 3. Do you want to do your 3 and then I'll do my 3?
Yeah, okay. I struggled with this firstly because
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't I refused to put one man in there because I love him. Mm-hmm. So personal bias came in. Maybe the Egyptian king should have been considered, but he didn't make it.
That's outrageous.
He didn't make it.
I won't lie. When I did the combined one, El Neni was in this too.
No, that's outrageous. 'Cause Man United's midfield. I think you'll clean sweep this, or
It depends.
I've got. Well, we'll see.
I think
No
there's
spoilers, but
Yeah.
there'll be a man who might be in both lists.
Okay. Oh, okay.
My midfield 3 was Ceballos,
Oh my god.
especially second season Ceballos.
Yeah.
Guendouzi, which felt a bit
Oh my
harsh.
god, Guendouzi.
It felt harsh because he was so young.
Yeah.
But I'll go into it in more
But he
detail in a
was bad
second.
for Arsenal.
And more of an attacking option. I went with Henrik Mkhitaryan.
Oh my god. I haven't got Mkhitaryan in. However, very easily could. Very easily could have done.
The
Yeah.
Prem just wasn't for him.
No. It was never going to
I've got some stinky stats for Mkhitaryan.
It's weird. Like, obviously, at the time, United were very excited when you got Mkhitaryan because we got Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah.
Obviously, that deal didn't work out for very many reasons. Obviously, at the time, Man United thought they got the better side of the deal there.
I'd still argue Arsenal got the better side.
I
of the
would
deal.
now argue that Arsenal did because they got rid of a player who didn't want to be at Arsenal.
They weren't paying Mkhitaryan, 400k a week?
But also, what did Arsenal want with Mkhitaryan? Because he wasn't good for us. It's not like you bought a player who looked good.
I think it was purely damage control.
To just get rid of
it was damage
Sanchez.
control, and let's give Aubameyang a mate. Because
Yeah.
we signed Mkhitaryan, and a week later, we got an Aubameyang.
Yeah, probably was damage because you weren't buying a player that you thought would be good for the club.
I don't know.
He wasn't good for
He
United.
was good for Dortmund though, wasn't he? So I'm sure
Again,
that's what they looked at.
again a slow. We will get to Bundesliga players later, but I do think I really struggle when people come in from the Serie A or the Bundesliga. I really struggle to look at them as someone who's going to do really great. Some do.
Yeah, some do. Some
Obviously,
don't.
Haaland is the prime example of coming in from that league and just
Yeah.
smashing it. But Werner, terrible for Chelsea and Tottenham. We'll get to other players later in my front three.
We know who it is.
But yeah. So yeah, Mkhitaryan. I struggle to think that being good for Dortmund means you can. And then you come in, you've got then the case study of they were bad for United, clearly not suited for this league. We'll try it anyway.
Yeah. Some honourable mentions for the midfield for Arsenal because they've had good midfielders over the time. Mm-hmm. Granit Xhaka did cross my mind.
Yeah,
because obviously
he fell out a lot with fans, didn't he? During his time?
he had an okay start, a terrible middle, and then just an incredible end, which kind of made up for it.
Yeah, it was a really nice end, wasn't
and
it?
I'd argue Guendouzi was the opposite, where he started out quite good because we were like, this
it was an
young
exciting
kid
signing.
coming. His debut I think was against City, and I just remember him playing this through ball, and it was. Wow, who's this kid we signed? And obviously it ended with him refusing to apologise to the Arsenal team because he got sent off against Brighton for throttling Neil Maupay.
Yeah. And, don't get me wrong, Neil Maupay is shit owls, but that's exactly what he wants you to do. And
And Arteta had a go at him, and apparently he refused to apologise, so Arteta just cut him.
Yeah, fair enough. This was tough for me as well. Again, there will be honourable mentions. The first one, and this for me was the most obvious one, I put Fred in there.
Yeah, Fred I thought would definitely be there.
I was very tempted to just do McFred in here and chuck McTominay in, but McTominay saved our arse a few times last season and had quite a good ending to his United career. He was in what was a very poor season for us last year. Obviously, this year's been worse, but last year he was, I think, our top goal scorer in the Premier League.
Who, McTominay?
Yeah. I specifically remember the Brentford game. We were 1-0 down at 90 minutes and we won it 2-1 from 2 McTominay goals. So he kind of, having a good last season comparatively to the rest of the team, saved him. And instead, I went with Donny van de Beek.
Yeah, he crossed my mind in the Man United midfield.
I think those two kind of have to be there.
He didn't make my Man United midfield, though.
No, did he not?
No, not who I thought you'd choose.
Yeah. So Donny van de Beek was an interesting one because we brought him in and he was kind of meant to be the guy. He then just never played. He wasn't injured.
Especially because he was a 10, and Ten Hag also came in after, didn't he?
And then Ten Hag came in and we thought, this is it. This is where we're going to get the best out of Donny van de Beek because this is when he was a great player for Ajax under Erik Ten Hag.
Exactly.
And then he continued not to play despite not being injured. So there was clearly some kind of confidence issue, wasn't working out in training. We ended up selling him for less than $1 million.
Yeah, who was that to? Girona? Frankfurt?
Yeah.
He played for him. He went on loan to one, didn't he?
Yeah, he went on loan and then went to the other. But we ended up selling him for less than $1 million. And it was just disappointment.
Exactly. Part of that Ajax golden generation.
Yeah.
But most of them flopped, really.
Most of them did.
I'd say De Jong didn't. Ziyech flopped.
Yeah, a fair few of them did.
Van
I think,
Dijk,
again, Eredivisie.
De Ligt's on the cards for me.
De Ligt. I like De Ligt. I quite like him. He's injured at the moment. He's just got back to training as of recording this. I quite like him. He's definitely better than Donny van de Beek. Obviously, different positions.
And so who's your third midfielder?
This one feels like the most harsh one on this list, but I've gone with Mason Mount.
Yeah, great shout.
I've had to go with Mason Mount. And do you know why? He was washed by the time we signed him. And how much did we spend on him? 70 million on him.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking at the time, I thought this will either be the most exciting thing, this guy who everyone wants to do well. I think because managers love him.
Yeah, tactical sponge, I believe is the... Yeah.
Managers love him. Tuchel absolutely loves him. And I remember thinking, this could be genius. Like, if he revitalises his career and becomes the number 7 at United that we really want, this could be great.
Too bad your number 8 plays in the same position and is the better player.
And is a much better player. He was never going to start over Bruno Fernandes.
Not good enough to start in the wing.
No. Now under good old Ruben Amorim, he could play.
He's got the 2 forwards.
He's got 2 forwards, so he could play alongside Bruno Fernandes. But again, he missed most of that first season due to injury. He comes back and we think this could be it, and he's injured again. He never looks particularly comfortable either.
Yeah.
So for me, again, it felt harsh because I think everyone I think Chelsea fans loved him when he played for Chelsea, even when he wasn't his best. I think Man United fans really want this to work out. I think England fans really want it to work out. And it just kind of isn't.
It's unfortunate. He was the first because there's this
won a Champions
generation.
League.
Yeah, there's this generation of English attacking midfielders. And at the very beginning, it was who's going to get Mount out the squad because he was the one in there when you had Foden coming through, Grealish coming through, Sancho coming through.
None of them start over Mount. And now Mount doesn't even get...
None of them start really now anyway.
Yeah, none of them start now.
Foden starts through reputation and that's it.
And that's it. So yeah, for me it's Fred, Van der Beek and Mason Mount.
I thought some honourable mentions for Man United, who I didn't know if Pogba would sneak in there.
Pogba for me didn't, simply because, and don't get me wrong, I thought about it, and I think he was in there for a little bit. He is the most talented player I've ever seen play.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And I think even though he had the attitude of a toddler,
yeah,
and when I went to see games, he was frequently the worst player on the pitch. Every now and then...
Sent off against Arsenal.
Yeah. Every now and then he would do the most genius thing.
Yeah, that's
see a
fair
pass
enough,
that no other player, not De Bruyne, not Scholes, not Lampard, not Gerrard would see. And you just go, where is that? Every match. So he didn't get in because he was clearly one of the most talented players ever.
Morgan Schneiderlin.
Morgan Schneiderlin was also a shout. Another one for me, obviously McTominay I mentioned. Fellaini.
But I thought Fellaini also had his moments, didn't he? He
Again,
was...
he's one of those players, we should never have signed him.
Yeah.
If Ferguson does another year, we sign Fabregas. We don't sign Fellaini.
Yeah. Final one I thought for Man United. Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Bastian Schweinsteiger was also in this list for a little while.
Yeah.
What a bizarre situation. He was training with the youth team.
Yeah, it was Mourinho, wasn't it? He didn't like him.
Mourinho just didn't like him.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Don't like him, man. Just get rid of him.
I think the reason he's not in this list is because we never really saw him.
I think it was a pure power play. My pure speculation on that is he's got these young, impressionable... He's got Lingard in that team. He's got Pogba. And he wants to kind of set like a...
standard.
Yeah. And
he
he's just gone, well, they must respect Schweinsteiger. So
he's not good enough to play anyway at this
stage.
stage.
Sticking with the kids. Yeah. Poor Bastian.
So who are we going with our three then? I think the one that needs to be in this, I think, is Donny van der Beek.
Yeah, and I think Fred needs to be
and
there
probably
as well.
Fred. Yeah.
I've just got a couple stats on Mkhitaryan because I looked him up and at first I was like, he did better for Arsenal than I thought. 9 goals and 13 assists in 59 appearances. I thought it was a lot worse.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot worse.
I know we got 3 of those assists in one game.
So we had one cracking.
That's his debut. Someone else on my list did that. Mm-hmm. Clearly it's a thing. All I remember from Mkhitaryan was he'd get the ball, run with it, incapable of dribbling, and lose the ball. And I thought, is this just me? 38% success rate of dribbling. He's meant to be a technical midfielder.
It's Fred, Van der Beek and Mkhitaryan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which, as much as he's on the Arsenal side of this
won
list,
the FA Cup.
Yeah. As much as he's on the Arsenal side of this list,
kind of gone both.
It's kind of gone both ways. Yeah, Fred, Van der Beek, Mkhitaryan. That's not a great midfield, is it?
No, it's not. Let me just write that down.
Yeah. We will be coming to left wing next, and I will go first because I think mine's obvious. Now, people listening might not know me personally. Max here does know me personally and knows how much I
Is this left wing or right wing?
Left.
Because you hate both.
I hate both of these guys. You know my wingers. I haven't told Max, but Max knows my wingers.
What? They're not both getting in this team.
Really?
They're not both getting in this team.
Okay, well, left wing, I've gone with Jadon Sancho.
Okay.
Jadon Sancho, I think, and there is a player who I will mention next who I hate more, but this guy I hate most because of his attitude. I think he genuinely has the worst attitude I've ever seen at Manchester United, Jadon Sancho.
I blame Ten Hag. Look, if the man...
He played under Solskjaer first. He was in a team with Cristiano Ronaldo, with Bruno Fernandes, with Paul Pogba.
dropped him, Harry.
Clearly, he is fucked. This guy is terrible. He had attitude problems at Dortmund, and we thought we could use a bit of that. Signed him for, what was it, 100 mil, something like that.
I think it was just under, wasn't it?
Just under, I think.
A lot
of money. Clearly isn't trying very hard.
What?
Clearly doesn't give a shit. Chelsea think, I'll have a bit of that. And again, we're not judging him on his Chelsea
They want to pay
time.
to send him back, don't they?
But Chelsea want to pay to give the cunt back. This guy might be my least favourite player. Second to the guy I'm going to mention next. But he had to be on here for me.
I don't. Do you want to go on to the player you're going to mention next then?
Yeah, we might as well. It seems to segue in quite nicely. Right wing has to be Anthony.
Illuminado.
Genuinely.
Anthony.
One of the most unnecessarily, unjustified, arrogant players.
I've grown in love with it.
Cristiano Ronaldo can be arrogant. He's Cristiano Ronaldo. Anthony has the attitude of Cristiano Ronaldo, but the technical ability of a Joey Barton.
Look. He's doing it at Betis.
He's doing
So,
it better. He is
is
doing
it
better.
Man United?
Is it Man United?
Is it Mazraoui not feeding him?
Is it Mazraoui? I don't know. But this guy is probably the worst player I've ever, seen playing.
Yeah.
The worst player I've ever seen at Manchester United. And I know you said that both of these guys aren't getting in. So I'm curious
One of
to
them
see.
will
But
get in.
Anthony has to be.
I think Anthony's better than Sancho.
Who are your wingers?
So I've kind
Who's
of
getting in this
I've
team?
cheesed it a
over
little
Anthony?
bit because one of them was a winger and the other one was more of a striker. However,
Yes.
there's another. I had two strikers and I was umming and ahhing and I just thought, one of them he's played on the wing before.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my wingers is Eddie Nketiah.
Okay.
He's played on the left wing for Arsenal
He
before.
has. I wouldn't call him a winger.
No, neither would I. But he had to be in my team.
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. I to be honest, I knew you'd say Eddie Nketiah, and I thought he was going to be your striker.
A goal every 4 games, 168 appearances.
Oh, he's not Premier League quality, is he?
It's just, but I did like him because he tried hard. And what I think Eddie
wants
Nketiah
it.
was
He
good
wants
at,
it.
I think he had really good positioning. Like, he knew where to put himself, but he just had no composure. Or it's just
Bottled
there
it
was something
massively.
missing. And so whenever he got the ball, he put himself in these great positions, then just missed a sitter. And that was just more frustrating than maybe the more of a ghost striker
Yeah.
who doesn't get in the positions at all.
He reminds me of Mountain a little bit in that you just want it to work, and he's clearly trying so hard.
He is trying hard, and I think he was like an utmost professional.
Yeah.
The opposite of Sancho in the sense that incredible mentality, incredible professional,
but just not good enough.
but just not.
I
good
knew he'd
enough,
be in your team.
yeah.
To be honest, I thought he'd be up front. So I'm curious. to
No,
see
there's
who
a
your striker
striker
is.
who is up front.
But yeah, Eddie Nketiah. I think we'll get to who gets in. But yeah, tell me.
But I don't think Eddie Nketiah is. I reckon Anthony's the better player than Eddie Nketiah.
Have you
but
got him
I
on your
don't
right
know.
wing?
No, I got Nketiah on my left wing.
Okay, so it's Sancho.
because my right wing is Willian, and the answer is Willian.
What over Anthony? Did Willian really piss you off the way Anthony did doing that shitty spin in the Europa League?
37 appearances, 1 goal and 7 assists. Mind you, we got 3 assists on the debut. 1 goal was a free kick. Good free kick. However, my God, the man was... The great thing about Willian is we brought him in to be this... He can play left wing, right wing, attacking midfield. And because he was so bad in every position we played him, he was overweight. He did not care. He just wanted to stay in London. Because he was so bad...
Did he come in from Chelsea?
Yeah, on a free.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing in his favour, and the another thing in his favour is he was on high wages at Arsenal, and they just like had a gentleman's agreement. They just cut it off. Arsenal didn't have to pay severance. Willian went off to Brazil,
Fair enough.
but
Respectful.
yeah, it was just 15% shooting accuracy for the man.
Just wasn't working.
He didn't want to be there. He
Are
didn't
you
like.
really going to say that he's worse than Anthony, though?
He must be because the man couldn't run, pass, or shoot. What
Neither
could
could he!
No,
Neither
but
could he!
he had an aura around him, Anthony.
Oh, but the aura of arrogance around Anthony
But I
is...
think about Anthony, and I know you were 6-0 down or whatever it was against City. We did score against City. He did score against Arsenal. He has scored these... Willian scored a goal against West Brom, and that was it.
Are we really going with Sancho and Willian?
I don't think it's outrageous to say Willian. Like, obviously...
I don't think it's outrageous. I'm looking at Anthony and the fact that he's not going to be in this
is because
team.
you're blinded by hate.
I am a little bit. This is the player, and I know I was pretty angry with Sancho. Anthony angers me more than most people I know in real life that I don't like. So
The best thing about Willian was how, because he was so bad in each position, it meant Emil Smith-Rowe got a chance. Martinelli got a chance under Arteta.
Yeah.
And then obviously Saka was Saka. But that was when he was playing left back and stuff.
I'm curious to see what other Arsenal fans would think. Would you take Anthony over Willian in that era?
Yeah, surely. Like, well, you're taking anything. Like, Willian did nothing. He just wasted minutes.
So he does his little shitty spins, then kicks it out of play, and it's...
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But, no.
And every time you're thinking, just cross it, mate, he does that shitty little cut inside, and then it's wide, and it's...
No.
We can go with Willian, but I think it's outrageous that Anthony's not going to be in this team.
No, I'm sticking with it. Willian and Sancho.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So we're on to our last outfield position in striker. I'm going to let you go first because I have no idea who you're going to say for this. Now, you've already whipped out Nketiah.
Yaya Sanogo.
Oh, fucking hell. I forgot about Sir No Goal.
20 appearances for Arsenal. 1 goal in competitive football.
Who did he score against?
Dortmund in the Champions
Dortmund
League.
in the Champions League. Fair play. What if you're going to score 1 goal? It's in the Champions League, isn't
A
it?
goal every 20 games by that logic.
I'm just going to say, we'll get to mine in a minute. You've won, I think. I think it has to be some... Oh, he was poor.
There's some stinker strikers. Obviously, there was Shamak.
Yeah,
But he had a good little period.
He did.
Bentner.
Bentner can't be in because he's a cult hero, though.
Yeah. But then there's just been so many good ones as well.
Mm.
But no, it's like I wanted to put Nketiah in there, and then
Yeah.
my wingers, I was thinking maybe Pepe, but he doesn't have bad stats, Pepe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few, but it's Sanogo
It's
up front.
Sanogo, isn't
I
it?
couldn't justify anyone else.
We'll talk about mine, but I think it's going to be Sanogo. This one, for me, is the prime example of the player who came in with the highest expectation. It's Anthony Martial.
Yeah,
Ballon d'Or clause in your contract. The stakes are high here. No one else has ever had that up until that time.
he's such a weird one, Martial.
Yeah.
I think he's such a pub quiz answer because he scored a lot of goals for Man
He
United.
was for Man United for 9 years.
He's over 100, I think, for Man United. He's in
yeah.
that club.
Yeah, because he was around for so long. But he was never Ballon d'Or clause. He was out for so long. He had a brilliant debut. I remember that goal vividly. And just being like, we've got the guy. This is the guy. This is Man United's number 9. And then just falling completely flat.
I think he's really similar to Lacazette in so many ways. French, brought in with so much anticipation,
Yeah.
but then over the years lost their pace,
Yeah.
lost their finishing ability,
Constantly
and lost their
injured.
hair.
Yeah. Constantly injured. Again, another one who's just constantly injured.
Yeah.
I always thought Martial was better off the bench.
Fair enough. Didn't have to run as much.
I don't think he could ever last the 90 minutes. There were other strikers that it could have been. I think you could argue Rasmus Højlund now.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for Højlund. I think the reason I left him out is because last year he was all right. He just seems to have forgotten how to play the game this year.
Yeah.
Xerxes was in this list at one point, but he's kind of improved relatively recently, but he's now injured again. And also too early to say, I think, with Xerxes.
Xerxes is a weird one because when I first saw him, for Man United, I thought this is it. This is the worst striker in the era.
I thought that. Clueless. I remember. Max,
slower than everyone else.
Max and I watched the
weaker than everyone else.
And I remember sitting there and just going, he just looks gormless, doesn't he?
He got bodied by Trossard or someone like that,
yeah.
and it was just.
It might have been when we were watching United Arsenal, and I just remember thinking, he just looks gormless. He just doesn't look like he knows where he's going. Kind of got a bit better.
He's starting to pick it up a bit more.
Pick it up. He's now out for the season. Don't really want to judge him too early, so I went with Martial.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. It's Sanogo, though.
Yeah, it's Yaya Sanogo.
Yeah,
back
because you
down.
wouldn't even think to put a Ballon d'Or clause in Sanogo's contract.
No, it's Yaya Sanogo.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind.
So we'll get to our manager now. Now, we'll go with you because I think yours is obvious because you've only seen 3 managers.
yeah,
And it's not Arteta and it's not Wenger.
But yeah, and so it is Emery for Arsenal. But then
It is rough, isn't it?
But then
to say it's him.
it's not Emery in this list because
Yeah, because my managers are worse. So we'll briefly talk about Emery in that I think he's a bit unlucky in that he had to replace.
he had to replace
Yeah.
Wenger. He inherited.
He had David Moyes syndrome. He's replacing the irreplaceable.
He
a little
replaced
bit.
he replaced Wenger in the season in a Europa League team he inherited. So Wenger's last season was the first season in the Europa League. They brought in Emery, and obviously he didn't do it. He got to the Europa League final. You have to give him that.
Yeah.
He finished 5th, and that was down to the second last day.
Yeah, he wasn't terrible.
But people also, I also find people go, Arsenal sacked him too soon. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't that. When we sacked him, he was on a ridiculous
Yeah.
losing streak.
Yeah,
The players
it
had
was not good
completely
working.
fallen out with everyone. You had these cliques in there. You had like the Ozil, Mustafi, Kolasinac clique. Ozil had fallen out entirely with.
I don't actually think it's Emery's fault. I think that squad was toxic.
Yeah, and they brought in
And
Arteta,
there was
and
nothing
they
he
just
could do.
said to Arteta, "Look, do what?
Just get rid of all
Cole.
the get rid of it all and start again.
Yeah, exactly.
They were when they got rid of Emery, it was the start of a complete overhaul, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think he had to be part of it, whether you liked it or not.
and then Emery had to
Obviously,
go.
he's gone on to do what he's doing with Villa. I think no one's doubting that Emery's a very good manager.
It's a prestigious record in the
Yeah.
Europa League and everything.
Yeah.
Got us to the Europa League final.
Mhm.
Got absolutely smacked in the Europa League final.
Yep.
Petr Cech for that disaster class.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is Mkhitaryan wasn't allowed to play for political reasons. If he was there, does it change?
You would have won.
Maybe he wouldn't be on this list
Probably
if
not.
he was allowed to
if
play.
he scores you the winner in a Europa League final.
If UEFA hadn't put it in Azerbaijan
yeah.
because they would because obviously Armenians weren't allowed there.
Yeah.
It'd be a different story, I
Yeah.
reckon.
Emery is not going to be the manager of this team.
No.
Now, this was actually quite easy.
Okay.
However, there are several honourable mentions.
I think all of them were an honourable mention. Maybe bar Mourinho and obviously Ferguson.
Right, obviously, Ferguson is the best manager that we could talk about today, so he was never in contention. David Moyes was a shout. Again, I felt a bit bad because he's replacing the irreplaceable. He walked into a team that was the cracks have been papered over by Ferguson. The problems had been there since the Glazers took over, and you're asking a man who's been at Everton for, 10 years more,
Yeah.
to just come in and fix it.
And Van Gaal, wasn't it?
Then it was Van Gaal.
Yeah.
Van Gaal won an FA Cup,
Yeah.
and I think of the managers who have come in, if you've won a trophy, it can't be you.
He was the one who started culling players, didn't he? Was he the one who let go Van Persie and Vidic?
Yeah, he kind of was like,
Yeah.
let's get rid of the Ferguson guard.
Yeah.
Kept obviously De Gea and a few others.
RuneScape?
RuneScape
Yeah.
stayed. He left under Jose. So it can't be Van Gaal, I think, because if you've won an FA Cup, if you've won trophies, there are managers on this list.
He's not the one I think
yeah.
it's going to be.
There are managers on this list who have not won trophies, and I think that's where you kind of got to start. Then was obviously Jose. It's not Jose.
It's not Jose.
Because he's the best since Ferguson.
Yeah. Now we get to the big three.
Now we get to the big three. I'm going to skip over the next two to talk about Ten Hag. It's not Ten Hag.
I thought it would be Ten Hag.
Because Ten
He won the
Hag
FA
did
Cup.
win us an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup.
But he bullied Jadon Sancho.
He bullied.
He
the most-
fumbled Ronaldo.
Oh, he did. Yeah, look, there were some L's in this era. However, Ronaldo was becoming a bit of a problem. Don't get me wrong. He's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a great player. But he did some shit.
Did
man.
Rashford have the good season under Ten Hag?
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
We finished third under Ten Hag. We won a trophy that season. We did get battered by Liverpool 7-0 that season. However, we finished top three. Finished top four even. Got third. Champions League football. Won a Carabao Cup. Next season, despite an abysmal performance, we still finished in the top 10. Which, I know, what an achievement. But then we went and won the FA Cup.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So, and we saw some really good players come through Ten Hag.
Yeah, Garnacho.
Garnacho, Mainu, Ahmad started. I know he's becoming more under
He's an Amorim
under
boy.
Amorim,
Yeah.
but we saw early stages of Ahmad. So I have a bit of a love for Ten Hag.
Something that does go against Ten Hag in my eyes is,
How it ended.
well, that obviously, but also just he had a knack of signing people who ended up flopping.
Yeah.
Not many. Anthony being the most famous.
His
Lisandro
signings-
Martinez not fit for the Premier League in my eyes.
I love
Onana.
Leacher, but he is too injury prone to be a starting.
Casemiro.
Casemiro again. He had a really good first season.
70 million, wasn't it?
70 million for
Especially,
a player
with
already
him.
in his 30s.
He had a lot of money, Ten Hag.
Yeah, Casemiro claims that his best personal season as a player was his first at United. Interesting. Obviously, he had better seasons at
He's
Madrid.
wrong.
But he thinks his best performances were at Man United in that first season. However, his second and third season have not been great. Yeah, a lot of Erik Ten Hag signings did not end up working. Look at Rasmus Højlund.
Yeah.
Look at Joshua Zirkzee.
Yeah.
So yeah, that lets him down. But he is the second most successful manager, trophy-wise, post-Ferguson.
Okay.
So I think it's so harsh to say. I think post-Ferguson is our second best manager.
So then down to
It's down to three.
the next. The
It's
next
not
three.
Ruben Amorim. Let's just point that
Could
out.
it be though?
If we win the Europa League, no.
Well, you finished 17th.
If we finish that, but again, first season, I think he's got one player that's his,
Dorgu.
Dorgu, and he's a bit rubbish. I won't lie.
Xerxes, that's a Amorim signing,
No,
isn't it?
that was start of the season. That was Ten Hag.
Oh.
He has
okay.
literally. There is only one player in that squad that's his, and it's Dorgu's. I like the shape we're taking under Amorim. And I just think it's so harsh to judge him on what we're seeing this season, especially when the priority is not the league. It's so clearly we're not focusing on the league. As of recording this, we got the first leg with Bilbao tonight. So we could post this and it be completely embarrassing for me. I think Bilbao are going to beat us, by the way. But I think the priority is clearly the Europa League, and I think they've kind of got... He has even said we're going to play kids in the league.
Yeah, I heard
So
that.
it's clearly not our
performances,
focus right now. So we are going to finish 17th or wherever, because it makes no difference at this stage.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So it's not Ruben.
The final two, then.
The final two, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I feel so hard, because he finished second. He finished second with United.
He did finish second.
It was between these two. I'll be honest, it was between these two because
Ralph.
it ended. We'll get to Ralph. It ended so sour with Solskjaer, didn't it? Losing away at Vicarage Road, 4-1 to Watford.
I think with Solskjaer, he was, I think by a while, the most tactically inept compared to the others.
Yes.
He and that's partly on him and partly on the squad. I think he knew Man United should be winning, and so he went purely for results.
He was brought in for the same reason Van Nistelrooy was our interim. You're a club legend. You're a club legend. You might be able to gel the dressing room for a bit, but you're probably not going to be good enough to stay. The problem is, we thought he was good enough to stay. He got us to finish second, which was incredible, and we love him for it. Didn't win anything. It ended so badly. That final season under Ollie, other than maybe this season and the end of last season, it's not been lower than it was with Solskjaer.
It was just such like on the nose football. It was pass the ball to Bruno Fernandes, ping it to Rashford,
hope for the
let
best.
Rashford shoot.
Let him run it and hope for the best.
Yeah, and then it was just sign players who can run quick.
It was schoolboy football, and it was poor. However, it's not him. It has to be Ralph Rangnick, because it got worse.
I disagree. I think
Really?
if you're going to go in on Ralph Rangnick, I feel like you could. The reasons you go in on Rangnick, you could apply to Amorim. Like
Absolutely,
lack of time,
absolutely. Look, Rangnick was a weird one. I've gone with him.
false promises.
False promises, a little bit. The fact that he went, I'm only here for till the end of the season, and then I'm going to stay and be a consultant.
Yeah, but that wasn't him, was it? Wasn't it Man United said no?
Probably, but and look, Ralph Rangnick said a lot right in saying that the club needed open heart surgery and that they needed a complete rebuild. Everyone needs to go. He was right about a lot of things, but he's not a very good manager.
Yeah, but also he wasn't brought in to be a manager.
Yeah, exactly.
He was brought in to
So we signed
inspect
someone
the club.
to inspect the club and went, oh, can you just be the manager for 6 months?
Pretty much.
Yeah, he wasn't a manager.
You're not going to pay 2 wages, are you?
Yeah, he was someone in the manager in
Can't
the
be
dugout.
worse than Solskjaer, surely. Hit and run football.
No, but this is the thing. The reason it's him is because he's not a manager.
So
I know he's
you've
now.
gone with
I
Rangnick.
think he's now managing Austria, but there's a difference between managing Austria and Manchester United. I've gone with Rangnick just because that end of the season with Rangnick was dire.
I would have gone with Solskjaer because I think he kind of built a squad that was anti-football, very much
I
defend
agree.
low, run long. But
It was between the two.
you're choosing for United.
I think
just shows you-
we finished second with Solskjaer is the one thing, and I just think it's so he consistently got us Champions League football, which we're not getting now.
Did he?
Yeah.
He got Champions League football every season.
Pretty much, I think we did, yeah. Because when we signed Ronaldo, we were in the Champions League.
There was no Ollie in Europa League at all.
I think when we got him, we were in the Europa League, but he got us.
No, because you played PSG, didn't you?
Was that not his first full season? Because he replaced.
No, because it's the Rio Ferdinand going. Sign the contract.
Yes. Sorry, yes, it is. Yeah. I don't think he ever did play Europa League then.
Wow, I didn't realise that. I thought he did. I still kind of think he did.
He did.
Must have.
Yes, because we got to the final, didn't we? And we lost on penalties.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
No.
So was that maybe
But
his
again,
first
cup final.
full season?
Yeah,
then?
that might be his. Yeah, cup
Yeah.
final. He got us into a cup final. Got us a couple of second place. He got us a second place finish. Rangnick, there's very little to talk about that's positive.
Yeah. Okay.
So
That's
for
fair
me,
enough.
it's Rangnick.
Well,
And Rangnick takes it over Emery. So
yeah.
It's Rangnick.
So then to go over the list, in goal, Onana, left back Kolasinac, Squillaci, Eric Bailly,
yeah.
Lichtsteiner, Fred, Mkhitaryan, Van de Beek, Willian, Sancho, and Yaya Sanogo.
With Ralph Rangnick as the manager.
And I assume you're quite bitter about Anthony not being in there.
I'm a little bit bitter about it.
It's a
But
full
it's
Man
one
United midfield.
It's one less Man United player is one thing. So what are the numbers? So who edges it?
Okay, let me just quickly write this down. So it's for Man United, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for, plus 1 with the manager. So 5
So
in the
it's-
11 though. 6 Arsenal.
It's 6 apiece then.
6 apiece. Mkhitaryan, you could argue, is a bit of both.
So it's probably slightly Man United, isn't it? Because we've got Mkhitaryan.
Yeah,
6.5.
yeah.
So that is us today.
Yeah,
We've-
thank you.
Yeah, we've done our first episode. It was a very positive one. Yeah, that's us for our first episode.
It's nice to go down the memory lane.
It
though,
is,
of-
yeah. I mean, some of these for me were very. I could have very easily just gone with the current United team.
Yeah.
I tried to avoid that.
I found with the Arsenal players, it was very much. It has to be like when in doubt, it's going to be someone between 2017 to 2020.
Yeah, I tried to because obviously this is the worst United team ever at the moment. So I could have very easily, but I wanted to avoid just listing the team.
Yeah.
And I think we have got players from this current team who would fit really well into older teams.
Yeah, and there's also players in your current team who have performed in the past.
Yeah.
And it's just.
Yeah, it's just not working.
Yeah, I think that some people are lucky to not get in this team, and I'm sure we've probably forgotten people.
Oh, yeah, there are people that we're blocking out from our memory
well,
for
I'm.
sure.
I don't know actually. I'm quite good.
I know
quite
ball.
thorough. I do know ball quite well.
So that is
No,
us.
I'm sure,
Thank you
yeah.
for listening.
Thank you.
Join us next time where we'll discuss something else.
Yeah.
Probably
Thanks.
football related.
You know.
We'll never know. Bye.
Goodbye.